it's really important in our relationship and in every relationship that we have trust. And one of the important things to having trust is to have transparency. So I want to let you know up front that I did receive this product for free.
I used to drink, I used to smoke, I used to smoke and drink, and then the hoochie coo. I used to smoke and drink, and then the hoochie coo. Well, I'm standing on this corner, praying for me and you. That's why I'm saying, and people, let me tell you about the kingdom coming. All I'm saying, well, I'm saying. Well, I came preaching to you, never done I mean that soul saving on me, hitting on a big bass drum.
So this game is called The Battle for Abraxia. Abraxia. Ornexia. Abraxia. Abraxia? Oranoxia. So this is the Battle of Oranoxia. It's an indie game on Steam Early Access. So I got this game on, I think it was like $250. And I really love to be able to support these projects. I mean, you know, games have stayed so cheap. They're like $2 is, you know, I'm happy to do it. So it was like fun one night just to like kick off and like try this game out and see what was what. I really thought the graphics was really cool. Put it through, and I realized there's like 5 people playing it, and there's like a little leaderboard and stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get the top score in this game real quick tonight. So it is very much a game where you are going to get hit a lot. You have like, you see like you have like a shield, you have a weapon. So the idea is that you're going to maintain a shield. You know, you can try to not get hit, take stuff out when you can as it comes at you, but it's going to come at you. And what you're really doing is managing your resources. So you have your shield, you have you know, you get bombs. That's pretty much it. And then pick up weapon upgrade. You know, things will hone in and track you and track your position to make sure that you're taking damage. When your weapon's fully powered up, you do have like 8 angles. And I will say one of the things that that I did find interesting as I was playing is that certain enemies you have to come at them at an odd angle. You have to. If you try to go just line up front like in a traditional way, you're gonna lose that fight. So you have to come at these like you have to come at these like diagonals or up top. You know, that idea I think could be really interesting, where the game could be about the positions that you're putting, about screen position. You know, things that seem really aggressive, but you can get a different angle on them. You know, you kind of figure out the enemies, and then but that's not what this game is about. This game is about getting those shield pickups in time before you die. So with the strategy, so I have the high score on the highest difficulty in this game. It's like 5 people played this thing. So like how I got the top score, what the loop is just take out everything as fast as you can and pick up shield stuff. And if you're gonna get hit on the way to a pickup, just do a bomb. Rinse and repeat. And that's the game. This is what I'm saying as the top player. But, you know, it is what it is. As the number 1 player of this game, that is what I boiled the game down to. That is not what the developer thinks this game is. So this is the community page for it. Sleepwave puts up a $40 bounty for video proof of them beating Galactic Guardian before the release. He says, I can't get past the first level, but I know it's possible. Let's see it. Well, I have it now. Maybe I should ask for that $40. I'll say it's definitely possible. During play testing, I was able to survive the first 3 stages. Took a lot of continues from the game over screen and a few stage restarts after exhausting my retries. Fake Craig comes in and he's saying there's a fatal flaw in this game. The way I see it right now, the game is fundamentally unfun for a specific set of reasons. Enemies and enemy shots are incredibly fast, almost impossible to react to consistently, and laser enemies spawn and move in ways that leave little or no room to avoid. This leads to unavoidable damage. The unavoidable damage is made up for by a generous shield meter and equally generous shield drops to refill it, leading to a sort of attrition mechanic of whether shield ups spawn frequently enough to make up for damage and whether you can maneuver to collect them when they do. The problem with these two major features, which to my mind define the gameplay at present, is that the player has little control over them. You have the basic mechanics here for a decent little shmup, but it feels like you don't quite have a grasp on the core mechanics of the genre. This is from the developer. Super big thanks for detailed and constructive feedback. It means a lot. You make some very valid points, and I'll definitely mull over them as I continue to refine and rebalance the gameplay. My game may never appeal to those who seek to complete a playthrough without taking damage or using bombs. Unavoidable damage just isn't going to be a thing. It's not a gameplay style I identify with or seek to create. This game is more about overcoming the attrition you describe and managing necessary resources in an all-out war you've been thrust into. I give ample weapon and power-up drops to keep you in the fight, and I expect you to get hit a lot. There's clearly room for improvement, and the goal is for it to be fun. I definitely appreciate your feedback on the traditional mechanics and player expectations for shmups, because I may not identify deeply with them. Whether or not I cater to that playstyle, I certainly don't intend to exclude those players from having fun. It just may not turn out to be their kind of game, and I think that's okay. If I can bring them in while maintaining my vision for the game, I'm totally into that. Minimally, I think some product page updates are in order to give that full disclaimer up front.
Come on. Oh,
Take for that what you will.
Well, I tried to tell you so, but I guess you didn't know. As I said, the story goes. Baby, now I got the flow, cause I knew it from the start. Baby, when you broke my heart, that I had to come again and show you that I'm real. You lied to me. All those times I said that I love you. You lied to me. Yes, I tried. Yes, I tried.
Shoot 'em up games are often thought a relic of the past.
Relic of the past. Relic of the past. Relic of the past.
The folks over at Keelworks are injecting new life into the genre with their new game, CYGNI, All Guns Blazing. Good title.
Is it?
Joining me to talk about this cinematic vertical scrolling shooter, our co-founder and CEO of Keelworks, Meher, and creative director Konami, Rich. Welcome. Yeah.
Thank you. Hi.
Now, I am a shmup fan. I'm a big shmup fan. I checked out your game. Looks very cool. I'm a big shmup fan going back to, playing Greatness and Life Force on the NES. I love the arcade shmups of the 90s. Dodon Pachi is my favorite. Even the more modern ones, a little bit more modern, like Ikaruga, Radiant Silvergun, and all that. But they're a little bit less common today. What do you feel like? Where does the shmup fit into sort of the gaming landscape of 2024?
I mean, I think with we hope that this doesn't just appeal to shmup fans, but hopefully it opens it up to a new audience. I mean, I'm of an age where action games were, shoot 'em ups were just called action games. That's just what video games were, right? But I think as we've developed, shoot 'em ups have become very, very categorized into a bit of a narrow genre. So the whole point of this game was to try and blow that genre wider, and hopefully it'll appeal to, people that.
I agree.
Thank you.
Thank you. So
I agree.
We'll take that.
I agree.
So
No, that's exactly it.
What compelled me to make this video was the narrative that sprung around this game. I just have my 2 cents to put into the discussion going on around this game that I find fascinating. Okay. All right. There's a lot to get to. Let's get to it. These kind of games usually aren't done well enough to garner attention from today's gamers. Today's gamers. Today's gamers. Video chumps. Mechanical aliens are threatening humankind's settlement on a mysterious planet, so it's time to stop them. In CYGNI, all guns blazing. Is that the story? I must have missed it. Isn't like your average shmup. No. Yeah. I can see it alienating many genre enthusiasts. You think? If you stick with it, you'll realize that it's not that difficult. This is actually actually kind of solid review, I think. Look at this guy calling. It may be divisive now, but let me assure you, genre fans will eventually hold this gem in high regard. Who is this guy? Who is this AJ? Okay, alright. Arcade style twin stick shoot 'em up. Revolutionizes the genre. Juggling between the air and ground units is one of the unique ingredients that makes CYGNI All Guns Blazing stimulating. Definitely geared toward the hardcore players, but allows newcomers to have their fun as well. The obvious design of replayability. CYGNI All Guns Blazing, AGB, one of a kind, and pioneers this genre into a new era. It's a bold statement. Welcome to the new era. This is the dawning of a new. Who has more fun than us? Konami was once its publisher that put out Castlevania Contra. Younger generations may not be familiar with arcade space shooter classics like the Gradius series. What are they teaching these kids in schools? What do words even mean? One unlike any seen in any shmup game before it. Listen, when you say stuff like that, you better know every shmup game that came before it. Reinvent the arcade shooter. Where CYGNI falls short is its upgrade system. Players can upgrade their orca, which runs it. There aren't many more ways to customize orca. How many more do you want? This ain't Subway sandwiches, bro. This dude be going to Subway sandwiches and like look at the menu. He's like, "Nah, I got it. Let me get that. What's this? I want this." You wonder sometimes. It's like reading these game reviews. It's like fridge magnet poetry with like 10 words in it. How many game journalists does it take to change a light bulb? Write your punchline in the comments. This is in Italian. Even the youngest fans will have heard a name will have heard of Ikaruga. I wonder why. Ikaruga, the Dark Souls of shmups. Getting a job in games media, first question must be, have you ever played Dark Souls? No. Can you reference Dark Souls? Yes. For some reason, we might have to cover a shmup. Have you ever heard of Ikaruga? Oh, my frothing demand for that game. We find ourselves in the almost impossible situation of having to dodge them all. Dude, I think I'm doing my first shmup tutorial right here and right now. World debut. You know, to dodge them all. Just dodge the ones that are gonna hit you. A hard and pure all bullet hell. Huh. In like the early 3D era, before like the right stick just default became camera control, it's like no one even knows that it doesn't have to be for the camera. Like you can use it for other things. It's interesting. It's interesting to watch people just like shove things into categories. For those of you who chew bread and shooter, I love that.
How's that in Per quelli fra voi c'è masticano pane e sparatuto. I love that. I wonder if that's that's gotta be like an Italian idiom. It's like, oh, you play shmups? It's like, bro, I chew bread and play shmups. Do you mind? Please stay still. To re-exhume a practically disappeared subgenre.
This is the Dolman.
Yeah, like irregardless how anything else goes, and like I'm still saving my my opinion, and like I probably sound like I'm going to be very critical. There's a twist. At least like this seems to me like an incredible achievement, and I think that it's a shame that for all the criticism this game is going to get, like some of it very deserved, a lot of it maybe very deserved. I hope this doesn't get lost in there. What an amazing accomplishment to have a team of less than a dozen people put this out. Like it really is something. This is as much a game about juggling your resources as it is about blowing things up. So it's really interesting. This is where you talk about this is like talk about game knowledge and genre knowledge. Saying something like this, I think on the surface, because CYGNI, like really up front, you have no choice but to juggle your resources, right? It's a forefront element of the design. Is this literally like you literally have like resource management, like you have buttons for resource management. But when you say something like this, and you say it in the context of like the revolution and the the dawning of a new era. Of shmups, to not realize that most shmups are about juggling your resources. It's just in a different like context, and that there is that some of those resources is your skill, your stamina, and your game knowledge. Take the time. Like if you don't want to play the games, like listen to a well-commented 1cc, and you talk about people talk about their bombs and their ships, and they talk about things in terms of resources because they plan their bombs. And again, seeing something like this, hearing someone say something like this, is you just know this person has never planned a bomb in their whole like shmup career, and that tells you a lot. It tells you a lot about where things are coming from. This sticks out, like this is one that like sticks out to me. This is like a shibboleth, like you just kind of like hear it and you're like, I don't know, for some reason this one caught, like I've been seeing that a lot, but this one, I don't know why this one caught me, where it's like every, like I can't think of a shmup that I've played that wasn't about juggling a resource. They all are. In a way. Yeah, man. When you see this kind of stuff, man, listen. Be a homie, man. Yeah. I got you, bro. We're all in this together. Ship customization adds more depth than the genre usually gives. Good lord. This guy don't chew bread and shmup. Digitally downloaded. This one sounds familiar. I think I've looked at this site before. You corny, man. By Matt. What's up, Matt? I am absolutely terrible at shmups, bullet hells, and other such action game experiences. For this reason, I don't generally play them. It's not that I don't enjoy them, it's just that my progress through them is so slow on account of my own lack of skills that generally speaking, my time is better spent elsewhere. Matt, you gotta watch the channel, bro. Matt, you gotta like and subscribe and hit that bell, bro. Matt, looking at the wrong end of the telescope for this one, man. You got that backwards. Matt, sometimes a game comes along that's so good, I'm inspired to struggle through my own inadequacies to enjoy the full experience anyway. I feel you, man. I feel you. Levels are not overly long. Found one. The closest you'll ever get to caring about the protagonist is there's an obligatory scene where she gets dressed. Hell yeah! Yo, why is this girl putting pants on? I gotta get to the bottom of this. Is that the slogan of the game? I think someone pulled that from a press kit. What does that mean? Christ. Dude, don't you have a job? Admittedly, the 2D shooter is not overburdened with new releases. You should see my backlog. You should see my fridge. Take a shot. I'm glad this guy makes this point. But you know what's messed up? I didn't unlock everything on easy because I played the game properly. Game reactor. Take a shot. Opa! You got a name drop, man. If you don't drop the names, no one's gonna believe that you know what you're talking about. Shots! Shots! The genre is largely a thing of the past. Reinvent the wheel. Fridge magnet poetry. Come on, man. Who wants to bet that all these phrases are in a press kit? Do we really think AI isn't taking all these jobs away? Christ, you can do it now. These the whole next generation, modern games, new game audience, all this stuff. Games of today, games of this generation. It's like, am I not here? Am I invisible? Am I chopped liver? Is my money no good here? It's crazy. A lot of talk in gaming has gone into marginalization. Can we talk about the ageism? Holy Christ! It's like if I have $30 for a game, but someone half my age has $30 for the game, why is their $30 more important than my $30? Can you explain that to me? Can anyone explain that to me? It's great. It's insane. I got notes on this. You know what I think? Franklin, that is not a toy. Hey! Hey! Frank! Frank! Where do you keep pulling that out from, man? Frank! I think I need that thing. Stop fucking with that. You know what I think? I think they just want new suckers. You start out naive and innocent and just get your head filled with all this bullshit. And then it takes you a long time to figure it out. And then you figured it out. And then you have standards and you have taste and you have culture. And they can't have that. So they just want new suckers to replace the people who got wise. That's my theory anyway. But it's offensive. Hey! Nah, you can play with it. Yeah, at some point you have a group of people who have heard it all before, and then you have people who haven't heard it yet. You just keep wanting to get the people who haven't heard it yet. Why do you think that is? So that you can just keep up with your bullshit. I can't think of another reason why not. That's my conspiracy theory. But do your own research. Get 'em!
There's people in power who fall in love with their solution to a problem that they don't really understand. And what happens is they're so in love with that solution that they're willing to ignore other problems that they keep causing to save the bathwater from the baby. Let me give you an example. I'm on a corporate call with someone's niece who's also the head of the marketing department. So we've done lots of research on Gen Z shopping trends. What the studies show is that what Gen Z loves more than anything, besides being the change of the world that they want to see, treating themselves while they're doing the things that they have to do. They call it self-care. So what we're going to do, in every department, we're going to install a frozen yogurt dessert machine. So what you guys are going to do is create awareness, you're going to serve frozen yogurt, and you're going to maintain and service the machines. Okay. This is a terrible idea. Nobody wants that. Nobody comes here for that. It's a giant waste of time and resources. And it's going to it's going to make us worse at our jobs everywhere else where we have to be good at it. Turns out, you're right. But here's the twist.
You guys aren't supporting the Froyo program.
Corporate headquarters is in Northeast Philadelphia.
What we're going to do is we're going to make it mandatory. You're going to serve 30 frozen yogurts a week, and we'll be monitoring your performance.
That's how it goes. If you worked at a corporation, you know that's exactly how it goes. Eventually, someone will bite. Hey, friend, I wonder if you can help me out. I need a replacement part to fit this thing. You're like, okay. First, let me tell you about our frozen yogurt options and our self-care desserts. All right. What flavors you got? Oh, there's only one flavor. What is it? Grind!
This is the Shmups Forum. This is the institution of all shmup knowledge, commentary, insights in the English-speaking world. Here's Steven. I played it and I hate it. All right, so we're gonna go right. We're gonna start right from the beginning. This is October 2021 when this first deal got announced. 2 comments in. Sounds very Euro shmuppy. Twin stick shooting is basically the opposite of what I want from a shmup. Visuals look nice though. Konami's name attached to this thing means nothing to me. However, for what it is, it doesn't look that bad. Now we're in 2022, new footage. Choose when to route power on the fly, switching between shields or weapon systems. And I'm out. Here's some actual new gameplay footage without the quick edits of a trailer to soften how unfun it looks. Not a final verdict naturally, and I try to make a habit of not shitting on people. But to me, this looks like a group of capable artists with exactly 0 shmup knowledge and probably no clears. Let me see your 1cc's. Show me your scores, dude. Why can't they make a normal shmup instead of a Euro shmup? Proclaiming we're going to reimagine the shmup and making this game has the same energy as explaining I'm going to reimagine... Proclaiming we're going to reimagine the shmup and making this game has the same energy as exclaiming I'm going to reimagine the toilet and shitting on the floor. I wonder if frames are dropping because I'm recording in 4:3. Recording that 4:3 aspect ratio. That sweet spot for shmup commentary. August 27th, 2022. Nautilus, aka Daniel, walking into the lion's den. Hello everyone, CYGNI's game director here, and my first post. I'm not much of a social media person, but I do respect the shmup community and the passion they put in the genre. What's important is to relay the message in good faith to the benefit of the game itself and to the genre, because even if you hate on a game of this type, should it succeed one way or the other, it will only encourage more publishers to jump on board and take chances with this genre as a whole. This is always a win-win scenario for everybody. So say you're really into cricket, right? And you live in a town where there's like an enthusiasm for cricket, but it's like a small group of people who are really like playing it. Some other people are kind of curious about it, want to learn about it, etc., etc. You know, and then you're trying to proposition the town to like build out like a cricket field or a pitch or a cricket. I don't know what they call it. I honestly I shouldn't have started with cricket. You know, they're getting all these signatures and it's not a lot, but it's enough. You know, like it's a real like got a little bit of a groundswell, right? As they get other people interested, they're like, well, you know what? That's actually a good idea, but I like baseball. And then, you know, like the baseball kind of like people sort of like take everything over. Like, well, baseball's really popular. So if we sell baseball, then we can, you know what I mean? Like, well, then cricket will come after that. Like then cricket comes, right? So we'll do baseball so we can get everyone behind it, right? And we can get it like into the spotlight. And then once that's happening, it'll be like cricket will come along. I think that's sort of like the thought process there, and I think it's a bit of a trap. You don't want to root against something, like you know, and that's not how I feel. That's not, and ultimately how I feel about this game. I think that logic isn't very sound. Well, let's see how this one does, and then we'll do the thing that you want. Like then we'll do this. Then we'll do this stuff. Like it's kind of like blackmail. Now I don't think Mahar is doing that here, but I don't like that logic. I don't think it's not very sound logic. I understand what you're trying to say here. But if your version of an STG becomes ultra successful and its mechanics just happen to suck, then by your logic it would lead to more publishers referencing your sucky mechanics in their take on their genre. That's what I just said. Ken. That's what I just said, Ken. Yo, Ken. Hey, I just saw your mother at Donkey's Kid. She's still married to your dad? I would like to first thank you all for your interest in CYGNI. We are indeed a small team of passionate devs ourselves, and we aim to provide the best we can within our ability against players. We also very often listen to feedback from both hardcore shmuppers and casual players alike. All right, Mayhar, I'm gonna give you a little advice. Why would you ever take advice from casual players? And I'll say this about everything in life. Why would you ever take advice about casual anything unless you're trying to sell merch at a Jimmy Buffett concert? The opposite of casual isn't hardcore. The opposite of casual is serious. You know, is that you take things seriously or you don't. You take things casually. You know, like if I'm like a casual enjoyer of soda, are you gonna put me through the Pepsi challenge? You're like, well, taste this one. I'm like, yeah, no, it's okay. I'm like, well, I'm like, yeah, this one's okay too. You know, like I don't care. If you're trying to like crack the mystery of what appeals to casual people, it's nothing. Like nothing appeals to them because they're not taking it seriously. I'm not trying to say this. I'm not trying to draw a line around myself and other people. Like I play, you know, there's like I play tons of games, and even like full genres I take very casually. Like I like platforming games. I don't take them very seriously. Like a lot of fighting games actually, I play incredibly casually. And that doesn't mean that I don't love the genre, but like don't ask me what to do with Virtua Fighter 6. I don't know. I have no idea. Like if you want to make something appeal to a casual person, explain to them what like show them the path to seriousness. Like explain to them why this is worth their time. Explain to them why they shouldn't be casual about it, is what I'm saying. Why should anyone care about your game? And then if you're asking them like, well, what do you want? It's like they want like Tostino's pizza rolls and just to like kick back and like something to do with their thumbs when they listen to a podcast. Like they're casual. It's in the name. You can't cater to a casual audience, I would say, at all. You can addict a casual audience. You can do that. Why can't they make a normal shmup instead of a Euro shmup? If the question is more related to why can't we make a modern cave game without something versus something a little different, then it comes down to preference in the approach. I like that. I bet you he typed that with a little bit of sass. You know, sorry, can't make a cave game. Like get a little sassy on there. Like sorry. You know, like sorry, I'm not making Battle Garega. Sorry, I'm not a rich doctor. Sorry, I'm not 6'2". Not everybody likes that, you know. Get a little chip on your shoulder about it. I like this guy actually. I like this guy a lot. You know, I got my own like headcanon narrative in my head, but I think Mayhar got taken for a ride by a lot of flashing lights, and I think it's tough to like, you know, when you're in that kind of like industry, you're in such a corporate world that I think it's like if you don't have the deep animosity for that world, it's very hard to communicate with people who don't care, who like just don't relate to it in that kind of a way. Something about being in the pocket, like in the niche, you just don't have the time for the BS. And I think you see it a lot where like that, like they're trying to get rid of these people everywhere. Like if you're a big corporation and you're trying to like make moves, it's like you gotta get these people out of here. You know what I mean? All these people calling us out and wanting this, wanting that. It's like they gotta go. We gotta get them out of here. We gotta be able to do what we want. We can't be held to their standard. We need to do what we want. And I'm not saying that that's how he feels about it, but like that's sort of just the you know, in terms of like the media is the message. Like that is the corporate impetus. Is they're always looking to grow, and growing means getting rid of you. If you're maxed out, we need to go somewhere else. You know what I mean? And if you're gonna spoil it for us in those places, like if you're gonna poison the wells everywhere, we need to get you out of there. Ain't happening, Jack. You gotta go. CYGNI is not meant to be like a cave game or claim to replace any other shmup game. We are not even reinventing it. However, I'm confident we are daring to do new things within it. So I mean, like right there, like this is the thing that I think rubbed everybody the wrong way. It was the marketing, it was the terminology, it was really poorly communicated. The only people who are looking for the genre to be reinvented and reimagined are people that don't understand it. Problem is maybe I'm gonna bring up this quote. Let's see if I can find it. Check this shit out. From the CEO of Treasure. They're talking about Xanac, Cross Xanac. It's gonna be released today. As a fellow STG lover, I'm sure you're psyched. He's like, oh bro, I'm super psyched. This is a quote, I'm reading.
You psyched, bro? Xanac's gonna be good. Oh, I'm psyched, bro, it's gonna be good.
Especially, it's important for STGs to be released. Is there any other kind of game that gives you the real-time, heart-pounding excitement like an STG? It's a genre that matters.
He says, Xevious was my first.
and I still play it on the Namco Museum disc today. I was in high school when it came out, and it stood out to me from all the other arcade games. I played it every day after school. I learned to get all the soul towers, which I called Muku Muku. Many different games have come out since then, but for me the simple system of dodging and shooting is more than enough. Then people started adding bombs, which I'm not saying are bad, but the fundamentals of STG are still dodging and shooting. After Xevious, STG developers tried to add items, power-ups, and all manners of gimmicks and contrivances to their new games. Some went the route of making STG games more flashy and outrageous, filling the screen with intricate Danmaku patterns that were fun to dodge, or having awesome bombs and explosions, or an interesting backstory and game world. But for vertical STGs, even by Xevious, we see many gameplay elements perfected. You know, from what he's saying and from what the thought process is you think about Xevious came out in what, 80? We're gonna look this up. I ain't gonna be made to look a fool on my own channel. 1982. Actually, I right. Xevious comes out in 1982. I think I was still going to the bathroom in my Pampers. The idea that this genre comes into the world basically perfect, fully formed, is insane. And it's a problem. It's like you have the basics here. And in that context, all shmups are in constant dialogue and constant reference to it one way or the other. Xevious is like the platonic ideal of a shmup. And when you start to mess with the basic stuff, like there's some really good ideas in CYGNI, I think. There's some really interesting stuff that I don't know if it's executed. Let's just say CYGNI did not arrive perfectly formed. But like, yeah, I mean, this is what you're up against. There's things you work with based on that thing. Like if you don't understand what makes that game good, you don't understand what makes any of the genre good. Okay. We have played many shmups ourselves, both Euro and Japanese. Some more than others. I don't want to hear this crap. Show me your 1cc footage. Show me your MAME replay. I'm gonna watch it, see if you cheated. You know, like, if you don't appreciate that there's people like this here, like, if you don't appreciate this, I don't know, man. You know, you're just lost. You're lost. Thank God. Thank God for people with this attitude. For instance, I personally love the original Ray Force. I could say CYGNI has a lot of elements inspired from it, but can't say the same for cave games. However, it doesn't mean I don't appreciate those games either. It's just different. The team's preferences also reflect this. For instance, we have also played through Sin More, which is a perfectly fine game. Everyone like boo. I mean, like, tell me you're not going to church on this. My goodness, like, tell me this is the best. No one wants to hear this. Like, this is the toughest love. This is like holy for me. This is like religious for me.
Nautilus, as you yourself mentioned, the alpha build does not give you enough time to implement all the systems you'd like. So you need to prioritize your attention on certain aspects of the game. And when you have to prioritize your attention in this manner, it's going to reveal a hierarchy of your values, where you feel your attention is most needed. The footage we've seen reflects a clear priority placed on figuring out how to capture the visual splendor that will be key to your game's marketing. As you remind us, you want to make your money, as does Konami, and who's not sympathetic to this? And how to get basic shooting mechanics working in that environment. And yes, you need to get something visually stimulating up and running for the conference circuit. But the footage also reflects that you've put less than zero effort into making interesting playing battle encounters. Since the play encounters constitute the actual content of the game, I hope there's a major shift in your attention as a developer coming. Thanks for stopping by.
A little different tone here on Reddit than on the old forum. Softer hands on our shmups. I think collects a lot more generalists. Every once in a while, someone gets a wild hair, and it'll go at your game on Reddit. It's interesting. I think everyone's a little more guarded in their opinions, you know, on account of its Reddit. Best behavior for the AI data mine. So this was the first impression I saw of the game. He says it's okay. Graphically it's great, controls are good, bit too fast, slippery, sound design and music top, Risk reward mechanic is neat, etc., etc. Most of my upgrades are unlocked and upgraded, and I think it's going to be hard to convince people, non-shmup people, about the game with such a short story campaign. So, like, not much of an impression, but it was nice to hear something positive, like pretty early on, where everyone was kind of dreading this. I was looking forward to it. So I played 4.5 hours straight. Enjoyable once you figure out the buttons and patterns. It's as challenging as you want it to be. I don't know what that means. Don't watch reviews, just play the game for yourself. That's good advice. I'm gonna give you an up arrow on that one. Give you one of those Reddit up arrows. Oh, so beat the game and I have a pretty mixed feeling. I think overall it's a very good game. There's a decent challenge and the bosses are fun. The huge swarms are awesome. There's good variety throughout the different stages, quite a few cool moments. Most of the time I died, I couldn't really tell you why. It wasn't too frustrating, but I don't see myself trying hard mode, and especially not arcade mode, which is hard mode.
The tone is all over the place and the character style is so weirdly generic. That bothered me too. It was like everything else is like spacey. I think you could have leaned in some weird like Lovecrafty. Like space is scary. And we had this like Overwatch like montage kind of like, I thought that it was really goofy. The song is what did it for me, man. The song was so corny. I like the one part. That like Fortnite Pixar style. It's gots to go. We need grind back, man. We need grind back.
Lastly, the game is just Rizless. Oh. Riz.
You know what word has no Riz? God. Is there any way is there anyone to exude less charisma than to say Riz? They went Overwatch when the show went Macross. That's what I just said.
I've not played CYGNI yet, but intend to when I get the chance, as I think it looks great. What I feel compelled to express for now, regardless, is how thoroughly sick and tired I am of people who make it their mission to gatekeep the genre, with the apparent goal being to keep it stuck permanently in the 90s. It's all the more infuriating that thus far, they appear to have succeeded. Everything must grow, or it becomes stagnant. Just look at the last 30-odd years of shmups. Can we please stop dismissing games out of hand for tropes someone, somewhere, years ago deemed verboten, and just look at games as individual projects? Widescreens are not evil. People buy widescreen TVs these days and want games to use them. We need these people to buy shmups if we want the genre to grow, if we want more shmups to play. Inertia is not evil. It is how game designers have conferred the sense of weight to in-game objects long before Cave. It suits certain games and doesn't suit others. Can we please try to feel just a little bit excited that a game like this can even get made today? Play it first before judging. I understand that some folks here are not interested in anything other than buying the same 30-year-old Japanese releases repackaged in a shiny new box for exorbitant sums of money, but surely that can't be everyone. Let's talk about gatekeeping. This word bothers me deeply. So what is gatekeeping?
What does that even mean?
You know what it means from how it makes you feel. That's what it means.
So the way I think about it is pretty basic. You picture a gate, things in it, and the people guarding the gate are the gatekeepers, right? And then the problem with the gatekeepers, they're not letting things in through the gate is the problem, right? The obvious thing is that there's something inside the gates of value, right? One, people are keeping the gate around it, right? And two, people outside want in on it, right? That much should be obvious. This word kind of like came out of nowhere. Like around like 2019, 2020, this word really starts to like, you really start to hear this word a lot. You start to hear things are gatekept, people are gatekeepers. This word kind of like pops out into the mainstream. Why do I keep hearing this ridiculous term called gatekeeping? Where I really saw it the most is in like in gaming stuff, because that's most of my news and most of my worldview. It's really the only thing I'm like interested in is I look at like gaming stuff. Like I feel like I heard it a lot in like online gaming, and like I think when I first heard it was in like in the context of like tryhards. Let's say like Smash Brothers. The meme was like Fox versus Fox, no items, Final Destination. Basically saying that like here's this party game, but that's not how to play it. This is the way to play it. You can't even say it's the way it's meant to be played, but it's definitely the way that we're gonna like build a community around. We're gonna build a community around it. Dark Souls Easy Mode was really like for me when I started to interact with that word gatekeeping a lot. Every time From would put out a game, this would come back up. This easy mode discussion. Just should Dark Souls have an easy mode? It is 2024. I played Dark Souls when it came out. So like whenever that was, like 2008, 2010, something like that. 2012. I have no idea. It came out when the Occupy movement was happening, because I remember that that my girlfriend was going to these Occupy protests, and I was like, I'm going to occupy Lordran. I will be doing that instead. Hashtag Occupy Lordran. However many years later, I could, with the highest degree of accuracy, tell you how to get from anywhere to anywhere else in Dark Souls as if it's a place I've actually been. I know that game as well as any place on Earth that I have inhabited for any period of time. And the reason why that is the difficulty. The difficulty caused me to make a map of that game in my head that is so like developed and packed with meaning. I've never played another game that did that. That alone, I think, is one of the most amazing things. And I do not believe that you can make that map, you can make that kind of impact on the mind without the difficulty level. Difficulty is like a color on the palette that they have painted this world with, right? Without that color, you can't have that world. It's not the same thing. So that's problem one. Problem two is, like, if you and I are watching like a movie together, right? And you fall asleep like in the middle of it, and you miss like you miss like this like really important scene, and then you come out of it and you're like, yeah, movie sucked. I'm like, dude, you fell asleep during it. Like, what are you talking about? Like, we didn't watch the same movie. But if we did watch the same movie and we had the same experience, we don't have to agree on it, but at least we can talk about it, right? But I am a gatekeeper for that. And that's the implication of being called a gatekeeper, is that I am keeping you from something. It bothers me because you're accusing someone of gatekeeping you, right? Like that's built into the way that the word works. And it's like, that is not what I'm doing at all. You see the wall and I'm showing you the door. This is how you get in. Please come in. I want you to come in. I am here because I love this thing. And when you love something, you want to share it. I want you to love it too. When you take down the gate, that gate's never coming back up because you're just gonna move on to the next thing. You don't care about this. So what that gate actually is, like what the gate is made of, it's made of taxonomy. It's made of the category, right? The category is the gate. So when people are saying shmups are this and Euro shmups are that, and they're like, you're gatekeeping. It's like, yes, I am gatekeeping because these are another thing. Like, you trying to get CYGNI into the shmup gate. Whoa, 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 whoa. Does your ship have inertia? Whoa, 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 whoa. What's going on with this shop system here, buddy? I'm gonna need you to pull over. Whoa, 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 whoa. You got a license for a stage that long? So we're gonna have to ask you to stand to the side. Whoa, 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 whoa. Scotland? That's in Europe. Pull over. We're gonna have to see what's under that kilt. Like, that's what gatekeeping is to me, is I think that the reason why generally, like, I favor the gatekeepers over the people trying to take down the gates is because the gatekeepers are the only ones who care about what's in the gate. The people on the outside don't know what they want. If they cared and if they loved it, they wouldn't be on the outside of the gate. So that's what I think of gatekeeping. It's a useful way to describe things like gaslighting. Oh my God, who hasn't said gaslighting 3 times a day since they heard that word? It's such a powerful visual concept. I think it becomes very useful, but I don't like that the connotation starts out as a negative thing. I think it's worth examining that it could also be, that could be a very positive thing. Like if you called it garden tending, it wouldn't sound the same way, right? What a garden tender does, not only care for the things in the garden, but they protect them from pests, and they protect them from things that are going to destroy the plants. You want these tomatoes? Are you gonna ruin my whole crop? Are you gonna ruin my whole crop for these tomatoes? You know, if you hang out and you're cool and you understand what's going on here, I'll give you a tomato. These tomatoes are for everybody to eat. Everything must grow in the garden. Sometimes you gotta put up some boundaries there to make sure that things stay safe and healthy and secure for the future. Otherwise, they become stagnant. That's what I think gatekeeping is. I'd like to explore what they think gatekeeping is. So here's gatekeeping from 1800 to 2022. So you will see there is nothing, and then right around here, 2010, boom. This is a very new thing. This is where it really kind of comes out and then boom, starts to take off. 1980, 2016. So we've got gatekeeping theory. Gatekeeping theory examines the process by which the billions of messages that are available in today's media world get cut down and transformed into the hundreds of messages that reach a given person on a given day. Now that might sound like a pretty dull sentence to you, but you know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like information theory. Let's take a look. Here we go.
Read this whole goddamn book right now.
You thought you were watching a shmup review? You're watching a book report.
Welcome to Big School.
The significance of gatekeeping. Understanding gatekeeping. Understanding the concept, the gatekeeping process, the social institutional level of analysis, the social system level of analysis, field theory and gatekeeping, gatekeeping in the 21st century.
The significance of gatekeeping. Gatekeeping is the process and culling of crafting countless bits of information into the limited number of messages that reach people every day, and it is the center of the media's role in modern public life. A lengthy and long established process that makes it happen every day in and day out. Process determines not only which information is selected, but also what the content and natures of message, such as news, will be. Explaining such a powerful process is the purpose of this book. Gatekeeping theory describes the process through which events are covered by the mass media, explains this process by considering concepts on 5 levels of analysis, and shows just how difficult it is to predict anything involving people. But by God, we're gonna try. Gatekeepers determine what becomes a person's social reality, a particular view of the world. Theories of both social change and stability need to account for gatekeeping. The ideas with which have been a concern for the likes of Jefferson, Marx, Gramsci, and Bourdieu. The power to control the flow of information is a major lever in the control of society. The most obvious effect of gatekeeping on the audience is cognitive. Shaping the audience's thoughts about the world is like what some have called cognitive maps. Information that gets through all gates can become part of people's social reality, whereas information that stops at a gate generally does not. As agenda-setting research points out, issues that get through the gate are accorded the most importance by the audience and affect public opinion on that issue. Although we are trained in journalism and are most likely to think of news examples and use news terminology, our theory is intended to address other types of content as well. Film, music, books, and plays are also mass media. So when the media calls me a gatekeeper, what does that mean? If their job is gatekeeping. Personally, I find information theory and media theory fascinating, but you may not, so I'll cut that short here. But needless to say, number 1, you shouldn't be throwing around words like that if you don't know what they mean. And number 2, if you think media is just a bunch of dummy journalists just giving games scores and mouthing off at gamers.
Yo, why y'all playing checkers on the chess set?
The shit's chess, it ain't checkers.
Let's talk about this game finally. Controls. So the movement feels all right. In the parts where CYGNI is doing CYGNI's thing, I think it feels fine. I think the parts where you feel like you want to be doing some micro dodging, it can, nah. But when it feels good, it feels good. Some things to do are a little cumbersome. You can get the hang of it. I think that if you're complaining that you can't play this game with an arcade stick, I think you're being a little fussy and not appreciating the fact that you can have this like 1-to-1 speed on your ship. I think the idea of being able to like shift your fire in different ways, I think is really cool. What I actually would think would be a really great idea is if it could be tied to like a gyro control. So if we can get like a Pro controller or Steam controller support where we can get some gyro on there, and that will free up your right stick. If your right stick's freed up, touching the stick could be the ground laser that you can move around. Flicking it left and right can move your power from shields to weapons. Those are just 2 things off the top of my head. One of the things I do think is cool about the controls, I think it does a good job of like arcadeifying some of the qualities of the sim genre, where you do feel like you have all these controls of like a ship or a mech, like almost like a tinkering kind of appeal to the controls, where like as you play through and you're getting everything set up and you're getting the controls just the way that you like them, and then layer that on top of your bullet pattern designer where you're designing your actual fire. I think there's like this like, gearhead tinkery kind of quality to it that could be very appealing. I can see the appeal of it. I don't know if it's the appeal to, I don't know if it appeals to me 100%, but I can see where it kind of could. In the same way that like Dark Souls or RPG players really like min-maxing and doing like builds. You know, like I'm not big into that personally, but that kind of appeal, I feel like the controls lend itself to like kind of like making these builds and making these kind of things. Now, ultimately, it comes down to does the game warrant that? You know, does the challenge level of the game and the design of the game warrant that? Length doesn't bother me. It's a long ass stage, dude. Maybe not. As far as like the length of this stage goes, I think you end up in an interesting spot where if you're looking at the thing overall, it's like you're talking like an hour, 20 minutes for a clear. Now, that's a long time. Is it unreasonable to ask someone to play a game that long? It's like, because of the structure of how it breaks up, I think doing it all in one shot, like the arcade mode should be trimmed down. So it's not an RPG. It's not a breezy game. It should be getting, you know, like as it's getting harder as it goes, the intensity is getting ratcheted up. An hour, 20 minutes is pretty long. But that said, the way that stages are broken down is if your longest stage is about 15 minutes, like what an average like full arcade game run is. So if you're just looking in terms of your time, like honestly, what's the difference between doing a full run at 20 minutes or doing a stage run at 20 minutes? And there's just 7 stages. And the difference is it doesn't have the design of 7 separate games. You can play it that way, but again, this is where like the structure of it is like I have no problem with. Does the game warrant seven distinct like runs of each thing? The build style, like how much do you have to prepare for each of these stages? How much strategy can you apply with the tools that you have as far as your control setup, as far as your bullet patterns go? How much can you bring to bear against 7 different stages where, you know, the fact that you can tinker around between these things? And then that goes completely against the arcade mode, right? Arcade mode, you have to have one kind of setup for the entire run. So they're conflicting things. So again, I don't have a problem with the concept of it, but in application, it's like, is the juice worth the squeeze? Is going to be the question. I'll probably repeat that 5 times in this thing. Is the juice worth the squeeze? What I do think is interesting about the level design is that the like you're going to get hit part and the you can dodge part and the ground part, they all end up being very like discrete sections. You know, like here is your ground section, here is your you can dodge bullets section, here is you are going to get hit, manage your resources section. And I think that's both good and bad. I think it's good that you can plan things out in that way, so you can apply some shmup skills to this. It's not always going to be dodging, sometimes it's going to be planning. Like planning and routing, you know, like are something that you can bring to bear, even if like other elements might be lacking. But again, is the juice worth the squeeze? How much does a decent player have to actually do this kind of stuff? Long and short of it, like, is it hard enough to even bother with this stuff? I don't know. I think the tankiness of everything, the tankiness that runs through everything is an issue. It makes the game longer. It makes kind of like sags the whole experience. I think that if there was more like kind of twitchy things going on between like, you know, like flitting between like your dodging, your tanking, and your focus on the ground, and then having the scoring reward that kind of stuff. So like the fact that you can kind of like go onto the ground and switch. You're like, there's no reason to fight these guys on the ground, but you can pick up some points here. That would be very cool, and I would like to see more focus on that. So like the more mastery you show of the air, the more bonus you get on the ground. That you can kind of manage things in that way. I think it'd be really cool. If you're wondering why I'm playing like ass, I'm not one of these Twitch streamers who can do 2 things at once. I don't understand how they do it. You ain't never catching my ass on Twitch. I understand these guys do it. I really don't. Gameplay loop. So what ends up being a lot of the gameplay loop is basically counting how many upgrades you have, throwing all those missiles out, and just holding the right button. And I think that that's, again, like, once you break this thing down into discrete sections, you will see parts where that is all you are doing. You are shooting missiles, moving things over so that you pick, you know, like when you get a pickup, it automatically goes into shield. So you just keep everything tilted towards your offense, and then shoot missiles, and then however much you're willing to risk in there. Every time you see an upgrade, just hit a missile. Upgrade missile, fly into it, pick it up, rinse and repeat. You know, I think a lot of times people mistake options for strategy, right? They're like, well, you have all these options to do things. And it's like, I'm gonna do the easiest thing to do. I'm gonna do this, whatever's the optimal thing, I'm gonna do that. Like, I'm not gonna mess around with all these things you think are interesting. I'm just gonna do what gets me through the easiest, fastest, bestest way. So it's not strategy. There's one strategy, right? So when the game plays like this, you're in Battle of Ornoxia, and it really is like the titty men quality of it. You're like, ooh, look at these graphics. Like, that's kind of the appeal there in those parts, right? I'm not worried about the ground. I'm not worried about switching anything around. I'm not worried about my options. Like, is this fun? Is this fun? Is this fun? I don't have to do anything. Here. I don't know if this is fun. Is this fun? Like, I don't know how fun this is, right? I mean, this is the medium difficulty. I'm just like goofing around. I don't have to do anything. That's the game at its worst. I think the game at its best is when you're choosing different options as far as where you want to apply your offense. I think is the coolest part of the game. But again, if things weren't, I wish things were less tanky so that I felt more of a reward for it. Because what you have to do is ultimately focus on the ground because it takes so long to kill everything. So you want to get that kill before it times out, and then everything else is like annoying, right? You're either getting your pickups back from the top every once in a while to like refill your stuff, or you're just like, they're just mosquitoes that are annoying you, right? Now, again, I don't know which is the better payoff as far as the score goes, and I don't care. Scoring, the biggest issue is that even if there is a scoring system, is that you're not in the scoring system. I took the easy mode on, which was what, like I said, like an hour, 20 minutes, and it was just this overly long tutorial, and I still didn't have enough currency to have my ship fully upgraded. So what am I thinking about a scoring system? I'm worried about getting my currency for this game so I can play the goddamn game. So I'm not gonna talk about the scoring system, I'm gonna talk about the currency system. So many problems with it. When I was telling you about that loop, where I'm constantly putting out offense, recharging it, right? That is the optimal way to play. How do I know it's the optimal way to play? Because it's the only way to kill anything in this game. It's like you have to pump offense into these tanky enemies to get them off the screen. But that's not how you get your money. You get your money by holding onto your shields, letting things just like not defeating the enemies. And then if your shields are full, then those become your upgrade things. So you not only have to grind, you have to double grind. You have to play this game in a very particular, less fun way to get the currency to buy the parts of the game that are fun. I'm sick of this. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm out, man. I'm out. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going off the grid. So what I ended up doing is going into the hard mode with no upgrades. I don't have the homing shot. I don't have my missiles are whack. Everything's whack, and I'm like, what is it like to play at this level without, you know, just ignore the economy game? Like, get out of the grind. You know, like, I'm not playing this like this grind game on top. What happens is that you think you're playing a shmup, right? Like, you think you're playing a shooter or an action game or you're a shmup or whatever. What you're actually playing is this economic grind game, which is how fast and how optimal can I get this? How do I unlock the game, right? So you're playing a grind economy game that if you win, you unlock a shooter.
So as you're going through and you're playing through the stages and you're trying to improve, right? Like, some part of you is like, I'm trying to learn this game, I'm trying to get better, right? But you have this constant nagging doubt that there's nothing you can do about it until you get a better ship. So you're wondering, you're like, do I need to get better? Do I need to learn and understand? Or do I simply just have to punch in and go to work?
Imagine you're working a roofing job, right? And you show up to your roofing job and you're like, all right, buddy, here's your shingles and here's a pack of nails. And you're like, awesome, where's the hammer? And you're like, oh, the hammer? Well, you can buy the hammer off us with some of those nails. Give us some of those nails back, and we'll give you a hammer. And then you're up there with the hammer, and you start nailing things in. You're like, I don't have enough nails for the shingle. They're like, well, and I like those shoes. Throw your shoes down here, and I'll throw you up some more nails. You know, like you're constantly in the shoes, I guess is the analogy for you. More of your fucking time. More of your time. Just more of your time being wasted. So you're constantly having to buy in to this economy on top of the game. Who think you're playing is like they want you to believe that you're playing a shmup that has these bonuses and these extras and these upgrades and all these cool things that feel like you're getting better, right? That feel like progress. But they're not progress, right? They're poverty. You start out into a debt, right? You're going into a casino. They took your shoes, and now you have to play the slot machine to get your shoes back. You know, that's what's happening. You start out with less than what you need to get through, and then you're playing an economy that seemed like a shmup. It's mobile games. It's mobile game psychology. Like, let's get it real.
I don't know who this system. I don't know who these things are for. You know, I think about Matt.
Matt. I am absolutely terrible at shmups, bullet hells, and other such action game experiences. For this reason, I don't generally play them. It's not that I don't enjoy them, it's just that my progress through them is so slow, on account of my own lack of skills, that generally speaking, my time is better spent elsewhere.
Matt doesn't believe in his own skills. Matt doesn't believe that there is an upgrade system with which he can unlock new abilities within himself. When the game has this surrogate system that shows Matt progress on the screen at the same time that he can't see his own progress within himself, Matt begins to invest in the in-game economy and stops investing in the Matt economy. Playing shmups has saved me from this mentality. And when I'm approaching a game that's looking like a shmup and smelling like a shmup and sounding like a shmup, I need to know that through it, I am still investing in myself. I need to know if I can do this. And I need to know if it can be done.
Getting through stage 1 on hard with no upgrades is the most fun I had with this game. Who knows if this game, where this game is balanced? If this game is balanced around a default ship, then all the upgrades are bonus. It's all just good job, attaboy, here's your treats, right? You know, start to snowball effect, start to get more powerful, get through the game faster, you know, like speed everything up, and then move you towards that arcade mode where you're fully kitted out, right? And then, you know, like the default game should be balanced around, or the base game should be balanced around the default ship, and the arcade mode should be balanced around the fully kitted out ship, and everything you're doing is planning and geared towards how do I get the optimal layout for every part of this game. I have 5 weapon slots. I have this. I have that. Like these are the. I have 5 weapon slots I have 5 patterns I can make, and I want to have them applicable to everything. The goal should be to get to the arcade mode fully kitted out, with the inability to switch weapons between stages. So you have to have an optimal loadout that works for everything. That should be the game. It makes no goddamn sense to me at all. And like, not to sound like an old man who used to walk to school in the snow uphill both ways, but back in the day when games were hard and you couldn't meet that level, you went in a magazine and like look for strategies and cheat codes.
Here's the twist.
The Konami code. Up, down, down, up, down, down, left, right, left, right. BA select start, BA select start, BA select start. That's the Konami code. That's the Konami code. That's the Konami code. That's the
to bypass the upgrade economy game, combined with playing stage 1 hard with no upgrades, and getting a glimpse of just how fun could this game be if it was properly tuned and had a good challenge, made me want to believe that there's something here. Don't get it twisted. CYGNI is a Euro shmup. Shmups are a defined genre of games. A lot of fans say that it is the purest, most fundamental genre. There is also a deeper layer. So shmups become that with which you can access this deeper, fundamental, primordial layer. Is CYGNI a game with which you can do the hobby on, with which you can engage on the deeper layer of? Yes. And no. As of now, the arcade mode and the scoring system is not great, but the developers have acknowledged this and are looking at getting a better system. So I think ultimately what it comes down to is faith. Is CYGNI a cynical nostalgia grab, trying to wear shmups as some sort of like skin suit, trying to make a game that they thought was going to be simple or easy to make? Or do the developers love this genre? Maybe not in precisely the way that hardcore players of the hobby do, but they want to show and express that love while still acknowledging the gamers that want to go into the depths. If they fix the arcade and they fix the scoring system, there can be something very special here. The developer's getting great feedback from people who really want this game to be great, so hopefully they take that on.
We can be happy underground. The teachers teach the lies, the preachers establish it high. Babylon makes the wine to blow the people's mind.
Wagwan. So why does any of this matter? Let's get real. If CYGNI didn't have the big production values, didn't have the storied publisher, didn't get that seemingly AAA attention, then we wouldn't be talking about it the way that we are. I know, and it's not a AAA game, but from the impoverished third world of shmups, it really does seem like a AAA game, doesn't it? If you watch the Devil Blade reboot video, you understand the titty men, ass men dichotomy. So you know where I land on. I think this is all titty men thinking. And I know that the subscribers to the channel, all 300 something of you, are all ass men and women of culture. So it's not like we're so drawn to these triple, oh my god, oh look at these graphics, oh my god, it's not about that for us. We're more sophisticated than that. We understand that, that all these flashy things are just here to kind of distract us and take us for a ride. All these gold digging games running around, just trying to get your money out of you. We know that we want something that's good to us and good for us, and we know where to find it. Yeah. Somewhere in us, some old, obsolete titty men software is still running in our heads. We think that other people, that it will bring other people to the genre. They'll see the pretty lights, and they'll see the, the kind of aura around it, and then that is going to get them into the genre. That's how we're going to bolster our numbers, and then with those numbers, and then the money comes back in. Once the money comes back in, then we have these fantasies of either the old guard comes back in, oh my god, maybe Cave will start making games again. And then we have these fantasies about the new school, getting access to these big budgets of money and time. Can you imagine having Bog Hog or Danbo, Raphael or Michael, Bibi or the Satie brothers, Terrorin or Sonny Tan? Any one of these fools getting the keys to Daddy's car, that would be, as the kids say, lit. What do you mean they don't say lit no more? Well, what do they say? mean, like the bag, that would be Gucci. If what we want is to grow the genre, we're not going to do it by transplanting it into the mainstream. As a wise man once said, mo money, mo problems. We need to pull players out of the mainstream, out of the hype cycles, out of the FOMO, out of the predatory monetization, out of the gotcha, out of the game design via leveraging psychology, out of the lies, out of the PR, and out of the contempt that this industry has for its audience. There is no savior. There is no gateway game. The game is a path to the thing that is so difficult to explain to people who haven't been there. There's no gateway game. But there are gateway people. People on the forums, YouTube creators like Etrem, Junkie, Mark, Dace, the Twitch streamers like Octane and Desmaku, and Jamers. We need to find ways to get gamers away from the actual gatekeepers and welcome them into the garden. There's so many people trying to figure out how to share with someone from zero what is all here. From my point of view, shmups are already saved. The genre has survived gaming going from a hobby to this monstrosity. I feel like I escaped from the Babylon of this billion-dollar industry with all its pollution and poison. And when I do hear news from the Empire, it's all brothers and sisters fighting over games that they may not even be playing, whether or not they're problematic or political, whether they're too sexy or too sanitized, whether one of the developers said this 10 years ago or one of the lighting artists said this 2 days ago. God forbid someone has the wrong opinion about something that has anything to do with anything but the goddamn game. It's enough. It's too much. It's just too much. And that is part of why I'm giving up on CYGNI. For now, anyway. I don't know. I can't speak for anybody else. But for me, when these games are like born in the media space of spin and narrative, it affects me. It's like I approach the game and I never get out of that narrative. And when I'm playing CYGNI, it's like some old software that I thought I uninstalled just starts running in the background, and like I'm playing the game, but I'm also running this narrative in my head, and I'm reviewing, and I'm arguing, and I'm debating, and I'm looking online, and I'm posting, and I'm seeing what other people think, and I'm arguing with people, and I'm getting into it, and I'm reacting, and I'm reflexive, and it's not how I want to be. It's not how I want to play. And I find that I'm not able to surrender to the game. I'm not able to meld with the code and commingle with the developer's intentions. It's miserable, to be honest. I don't know why I do it. I'm very passionate about the hobby, and I'm very passionate about gaming, and I don't want to relate to it like that. I don't want to relate to my hobby like that. I don't want to relate to my passion like that. So I'm hoping that by the time Keelworks releases their last update for CYGNI, All Guns Blazing, that they'll have taken on the feedback from players who would go deep with this game, and that they fix some of those issues, and that when the casual people have moved on and all the dust has settled, that I'll be out of the media headspace and be able to approach it and just take it as it is. In the meantime, I'm very excited to get back to the game that I have been playing seriously for quite a few weeks now, and then casually, but with serious interest, checking out all the new stuff coming out in this dead genre of ours. Terran's Crystal Breaker demo came out on Steam. That thing is awesome. You psyched, bro? Crystal Breaker is gonna be good. I keep going back to the demo for one of the games I'm the most excited about. It's called Stellar Fury. I've been playing that demo on itch.io. And while I'm making this stupid video, the Rain Chaser demo came out. I gotta play that thing, man. It looks so cool. And you know, the second I can get all these big video files off my hard drive, I'm gonna be messing with that Wukong. Yeah, that's it. Done.
Shmup got a new video out.
Hey everybody, what's going on? Daze here and welcome back. Today we're looking at Tiny Pixel's Volume 1 Ninpo Blast for Nintendo. Ninpo Blast is a vertical scrolling arcade shooter developed and published by East Asia Soft. It emphasizes scoring, and one of the best things about Ninpo Blast is its online leaderboard. Things really come to life when you buckle down for scoring. We have a multiplier that counts down and drops to ×1 unless you maintain enemy kills. The game uses an unlock system to help you progress. Between runs, the coins collect from